I wanted to ask, how many people here are familiar with press kits? Put one in the chat if you are familiar with a press kit. Give us like a second. All right. Looks like at least a few of you are familiar with press kits. Excellent. So this is going to be a nice refresher for you and for everyone else watching that are not familiar with press kits. You're going to enjoy this. All right. So next slide, please. So what you will learn today, hit spacebar. You're going to learn what is a press kit, what are they for, why do you need them, how to make them, and especially how to use them. So let's just jump right into it. What is a press kit? A press kit is a publicity tool that will contain everything a media outlet needs to be able to promote you. This should be viewed as your business card, your resume, and your first impression, which is why it is highly important to have a press kit on hand and to really take your time with this. All right, next slide. What are they used for? So a press kit typically is used by the media outlet to actually pull all of your information off of there. Typically, this is your introduction to most media outlets. You will send them your press kit, and this is your first introduction to them. So everything in your press kit is something that they will be able to pull from you. That means your policy information, your images, any background information, quotes, or achievements, which I'll go into a little bit more in detail here in a moment. So next slide, please. Why do you need a press kit? Now, there's a lot of information on here, but I'll just sum it up. Without a press kit, you cannot get media attention without doing something drastic, which is not necessarily going to get you good media attention. So your press kit is basically what the media is going to use when running your story, announcing who you are. These are typically paired with other documents that I will talk about here in a moment. So next slide, please. How to make a press kit. So you're going to need a cover page, a quick introduction of who you are as a person, an introduction to you as a candidate, any accomplishments or endorsements you may have, your top policies, typically your top 3 policies, a link to your website and other social media, and how to contact your campaign and specifically who to contact on your campaign. If you have a media manager, it would typically be that person. All right, we do have an example here of David Kim's press kit, which I'd like to just go through very quickly. Just run through all the slides so you can kind of get a visual of what I'm talking about here. And then we'll come back to this. So on the David Kim press kit, which I helped create, you have your cover page, which basically just announces who you are. You introduce yourself on who is, yourself, who you are. Then you go down to who you are professionally, what you're running for, which is, And then a little bit of backstory about you. That's what's on the screen here, which is your accomplishments, who you've worked with, sort of building up your resume. And you can just skip through the next one's pretty much a continuation. And any quotes that you want to include, obviously, would be put in here. So your top 3 policies, and you want to spell out what your policies are, make them easy to understand and easy to quote. There is something I'd like to mention here. If you are going to use quotes from anything you have said that is already on a publication whether it be on your own social media or any other publication, make sure that you use the exact quote, even if you don't like the way it sounds, because part of what media does to filter out inconsistencies or anything that would reflect badly on their journalism is if they pull a quote from your press kit, it has to be exact to where you quoted it from, even if it's quoting yourself. If you do not pull it exactly, your press kit is going in the garbage. So please be aware of that. Endorsements, as you can see here, list your endorsements, who has endorsed you, and any organizations, people. This becomes important because the media is going to put that as part of your accolades. You've been endorsed by this person, or this person. Events, you want to make sure that you announce any upcoming events that are coming up. This can usually be paired with a document that is called a press release, which we'll go into later on in the presentation here. And then finally, the contact page. This tells the media who to contact by name and how to get a hold of your campaign. All right, let's head back to the presentation. All right, so your press release should include some very important things. When you include images, make sure that it is a larger image that you need that you can shrink down. So this way, the media can actually pull those images and adjust them as needed. Check with your local media. Typically, they will ask for your press kit in a PDF format. So, but not always. So make sure that you find out exactly who it is. Now, who you send the press kit to is going to be very important, which we'll cover on the next slide. So, for candidates especially, you are going to be sending your press kit to the political editor. And it is very important that you send it to the right person because, again, most media outlets receive tons of emails. If it's sent to the wrong person, they're probably not going to respond. It's just going to go in the trash. You want to send it to the political editor because they're the ones that actually write the stories that go on the news. And they are also the ones that receive press kits and other information and actually communicate with the campaign. This is typically not done by the journalists or other members of the media staff. It is usually just the political editor. So make sure when planning your press kit, you send it specifically to your political editor of the chosen media that you have. If you cannot find this information, contact your local media station, and you can actually request an email or contact to their political editor, and they'll usually be happy to provide that information. All right, next slide. So as I said, your press kit is often paired with a press release. Typically, this is a very standard format, which you can see up on your screen here. Now, a press release, you can actually pick the date that you want this to be announced. I would recommend at least giving them 2 weeks advance notice so that they have time to plan your story and put this in and give it enough time. With your press release, if you're just starting out, you've just announced your candidacy, this is the best way to get the media's attention by sending your press kit and press release announcing your candidacy to all the local media stations that you can find. So a lot of prep work here is highly, highly recommended because it's going to be paying dividends in the long run. All right, next page. So your press kit is a living document and should be constantly updated. What I mean by this is when you have new endorsements, new information comes up, something has changed with your campaign, or you've hit a milestone, all of that should be reflected in your press kit. So this is a document you are going to be updating frequently. It is also going to be a document that you are going to use most frequently. This document is, as I said, basically your business card, your resume. This is going to be given to everyone that you meet. So being prepared and having this on hand and making sure that it is up to date is highly, highly important. All right, next slide. And questions. I know we don't have time for a Q&A, so I will be sticking around after when this turns into a hang, and you can ask as many questions as you like. Thank you again to HFM for allowing me this opportunity.